just talk like Ninja Turtles or God Almighty. I just got back from.
Have the character with a little stick that you can.
Stick. Yeah. I'll just hold it up in front of my hand and start talking. Poor Nicole's going wild.
Oh, it is happening. Oh, good. Good. Hey, welcome, everybody. It is the Cars and Comedy Show here in the Late Night Playset. My name is Jay Ryan. It's 5 o'clock. You've clicked us on a great night. I don't know where to start. Let's see. We booked our buddy Fireball, but he brought a friend of his who is gonna. I have a feeling we're already off the rails. We may stay that way for the whole evening. Gosh, I looked him up on IMDb. There were 564 acting credits, so you probably know him from effing everything. But Rob Paulson is here along with Fireball Tim. Mrs. Ryan's here as well. We're going to be doing the whole thing. We got you on Instagram. We've got Canadian Mike up there in Canada. He's going to keep the chats going as well. And I think producer Ariel might chime in as well from home. So that's what's going on. Take it away, Will.
Kevin, you gonna buy a Beamer? Sudsy Dudsy. I love it. Welcome back, everybody. It is Thursday, September 13th. September 13th. I didn't realize when I wrote that. It's, I guess it doesn't matter now he's not on the air, but this was the anniversary of the Conan O'Brien show going on the air when he took over for Letterman when I was a kid.
Wow, that's a pretty big showbiz deal.
Yeah, it was, right? It was on until like last year, so that's
kind of a
28
small
years.
show compared to this.
Hey, man, you guys have a much cooler set. Plus you have Nicole.
Yes.
Now you want to pull those up.
Classes up the joint right away.
There you go. All right, everybody. You already know. We're starting it. We're just jumping right into things here. We've got Fireball Tim and we've got Rob Paulson here. We've also got our friend Canada Mike up here in Canada running the chat. And I'll just say hello to you first, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm not sure if I'm going to be talking very much tonight. So may I please just say, Fireball Tim, you built the ultimate Batmobile. Thank you for that. Woo-hoo. I cannot wait for the show. I'm very excited.
Was it the penultimate or the ultimate? I missed that. It sounded like it might be both. Which one was it?
It was the. I realized halfway through the sentence that I was using penultimate in the incorrect way, and so I switched it up. I did an audible. It is the ultimate Batmobile from my youth. Great. I love the
High
Tumblr.
Praise.
That was the penultimate to me.
Totally.
I think a lot of people agree with that.
Absolutely. In fact, I had my picture taken with the Batmobile at Comic-Con a few years ago, and as I was looking at it, I thought, oh my God, Cesar Romero signed it, Adam West signed it. Frank Gorshin signed it. Lee Merriweather signed it. It is a rolling piece of Hollywood history.
That's the Barris one, right?
You're probably talking about the Barris one.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the one that's from.
In '66,
They're both pretty
I was
special.
one. I was a great designer when I was one, but I wasn't.
Well, that is my Batmobile because I was.
Yes. This
yeah.
is maybe the second best.
Yeah.
I guess.
No, the one from.
He was right. It's the
way
penultimate. Hey,
Yeah.
Good job, Mike. But yes, and also I think probably you are. I'm guessing grew up with both of these gentlemen's work, right, Mike? Mike is a super fan of everything.
Yeah.
Where in
Absolutely.
Canada
This is
are
an
you?
episode, again, I'm not going to be talking very much, but I'm going to be listening a lot. It's so exciting to have you both there. This is
Thank you.
an amazing show.
Where are you in the Great White North?
I am located in a place called Kelowna, British Columbia, which
know
is
right
about
where that is.
250 miles east. You know
I know
Kelowna?
exactly where that is. I grew up in Michigan, but I played hockey kind of
Whoa.
all over the joint.
Hilarious.
And I was just in Ottawa last weekend doing a con,
Yep.
and the week before in Toronto, and next week I'm in Edmonton.
Do you know John
Going all
Delaney?
the hockey
Going all over
towns.
the
All
joints.
over hockey
That's
town.
right.
He's going to play hockey in every one of these things.
That's right.
This young lady here went to Ann Arbor.
Oh my God, I'm a Wolverine too.
And
No
sh-
way!
and
Congratulations.
She was on the ladies' team that got the ladies' team,
Is that right?
right?
Wow.
When there wasn't yet a varsity team in the 90s, late
Outstanding.
90s,
Late.
to early 2000s, I guess.
I graduated in '01. I went on the border.
Isn't that the most wonderful town?
Yeah.
It really is the archetypal college town. 104,000 people at a game at the Big House at Michigan Stadium. 104,000 people, and Ann Arbor is just it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful town.
It's one of those postcard towns.
It really, truly is.
Yeah.
And we used to refer lovingly to our rival, Michigan State, up in East Lansing. As, we used to refer to
Never
it as
heard of him.
East Lansing High. That's what we call it. Yeah. Oh, I went to Ann Arbor. Did you go to East Lansing High? Oh, so you must be a Spartan. How nice.
That's hilarious.
Hilarious.
Well, I'm glad you
you
guys
and
combined.
the Ivy of the Midwest.
Yes,
So we're all leaders.
Are you from
to
Michigan
Brett-
originally?
No, upstate New York.
Whereabouts in upstate New York?
You're Rochester.
Oh, great. Well, I just got back from Schenectady. I was
Oh, wow.
doing an autograph thing there. I used to play hockey in Western New York and
Yep.
Buffalo and Wilson and all those places. So my God, we're all related somehow. This is great.
Are you working currently, or are you just making a living doing the con
I
circuit?
am-
Because I
well,
know
you
people
know,
who are doing that.
Now that you've got me, Amway's not just soap anymore, Jerry. Just so you know. I'm sharing this with my friend Tim.
Many products that would suit my needs, I'm sure.
Well said. I am actually working, thank goodness. The cool thing about my gig is nobody cares what I look like. And so I can do this.
We
Thank
do,
you.
yes.
Thank you. I can do this till I die. But I have to say, these conventions have become so ubiquitous and they're an absolute blast. I think because what I do is relatively anonymous. And thanks to nice people like you and the internet and all that, that's changing. But the glorious aspect of this is to be able to see, when I go to these events, literally almost anywhere in the world, Ninja Turtles, Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, Jimmy Neutron, Goof Troop, Gummy Bears. Oh my God!
Thank you for naming some of them off.
Unbelievable.
It's just
It's
but they
unbelievable.
know them
I was
all.
overwhelmed.
It's fantastic, and it really is sort of this lovely dollop of whipped cream on a really an incredibly fortunate career, because I never really knew the extent to which people connected with some of these characters, and man, I hear stories that blow my mind every week.
You know, my brother's a writer here in
Put that a
Tinseltown.
little closer to you.
Yeah, no kidding. And, your
And,
dad, of course.
and-
Yeah,
he
you
was-
come from a hell of a lineage.
Boy, I'll say.
You're kind of
Every
Hollywood
dad
I don't know
knows
how-
thing. Here's
Fireball.
my dad did Bonanza, and he
My
also
uncle
did
was
Mod
Bobby
Squad.
Hall. That's
Yeah,
above
how about
Vance.
that?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's
But
weird.
anyway,
Talking
anyway,
about
It is weird. It
so,
is weird.
But you know, the interesting thing about what Rob's saying is that my brother was working on a show that was maybe a couple of decades ago, and it had a fan base that it was building. I forget the name of it; it'll come to me. But he went to a con here in L.A., and the producer walked up to him and said, as they were doing signings and had the fan base there, and he said, "You know, our show is meaningless. It's pointless without these people.
That's it.
These people make up the breadth, the heart, and everything that is about these shows."
The fans,
And
the people
fans.
that they're meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
the fans.
for sure.
And I've been
well,
to
what
shows.
what does anyone do anything for if?
Exactly.
If there's no other
I
side.
literally have been to shows, and this is what makes this young man different. Is I've been to a lot of cons with a lot of big name people, and they don't treat the fans the same way that he does, the same way that Tony Dow did, the same way that you know. I look at these people and I say that without you guys, we're nothing.
Absolutely.
You know,
And
it's
one of-
extraordinary.
what I don't get about that is why that happens. If people are nice enough to say, all right, I'll give you a first-class plane ticket, put you up in a hotel for 3 or 4 nights, pay you a couple of bucks to show up, and then at the end of that lovely weekend, you'll go home utterly exhausted from saying thank you.
Yes.
If you don't want to deal with that, then for God's sake, don't show up. I just don't get it. If somebody is going to show up and then they just do this,
Give me names, Rob.
oh God, it
We
makes
could
me
probably compare
crazy.
lists. Sure, of
This
course.
is exactly what you. If you get to a place now, don't get me wrong. I've never had the issue where my children might be in danger or I can't go to Target without causing a scene. That's a different animal. But in these circumstances that Fireball's talking about, we're all taken care of. So you don't have to do anything but go sit down, do your thing. And if you're not going to give yourself 100% to the people who literally butter your bread, then for Christ's sake, don't show up.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
I don't get it.
I went to a convention with Denise Crosby.
Oh, yeah, I was just with her
Tasha
this
Yar.
weekend
Yeah,
from
amazing,
Star Trek.
amazing lady.
Boy,
so
I'll
she
say.
she tells the story of going to a convention and
Really
it's,
nice.
and they're wrapping up their signing. She's with Jonathan Frakes and a bunch of other people. And sorry, distraction. So a young girl walks up to her and says, "I have a friend who works down in the bowels of the hotel that is a huge fan of yours, and he has a tattoo of you."
Oh, wow.
Right? And she's like, "Oh boy, this will be interesting, right?" And he's down in the bowels of the hotel, so I'm going to walk down
They
there
keep
by
saying
myself.
that,
No,
the bowels.
so
Yeah.
a whole group of the Trek crew
Paints a
walk
picture.
across the con and they go down into
Oh,
the
safety
bowels.
in numbers.
Yes,
They
right.
all go over.
They all go. They all
Wow.
go, and they go down, and she's thinking shoulder, arm, something like that. So she goes down, and this young girl stops this guy who's working down in the bowels in the laundry room or something like that, and says, "Hey, look who I have." He turns around, the guy is nearly floored because the entire crew has walked in, headed by Denise, right?
Yeah.
And he's a super fan, to say the least. And she goes, show him your tattoo. And the guy's like, no. He's like starstruck immediately. And then she gets him to do it, and he takes off his entire shirt, and his entire back is a close-up of like this of Denise as Tasha Yar.
Oh my God.
And it was
Wow.
intense. And she said she went through this variety of emotion in about a fraction of a second, from holy crap to shock. Instantly she landed on gratitude.
Of course.
And
Oh,
she,
thank goodness.
She realized, wow, that I was only in this show one season, but it made that much of a difference in someone's
If you're
life.
part of that universe, the Star Trek universe, it's a lifelong experience. And I had never met her. She was at the show in Ottawa this weekend. What a lovely woman.
We rode the Goodyear blimp together.
Did you?
It was awesome.
I rode that
whiz.
too
Amazing.
years ago.
You two are
I
a
rode
barrel of fun.
I rode in the
Whoa.
Goodyear.
You're next,
crap.
buddy.
I did. How about this?
Why don't you two have a show? This is
I was going to
amazing.
say, man, this is great.
Seriously.
But you must relate in the same exact way because of all of the franchises we were looking. I mean, do you remember Pinky and the Brain?
Yeah,
Oh,
I know
Pinky.
the
Well,
name.
I'm the stupid one. I'm Pinky. Hello. Nerf. That right there. Look at that beautiful woman's smile. That is worth
She's going to slobber
everything.
on the mic. I know
It's
it.
the best part of my job. I have learned, and I continue to learn, that the money that I've been paid on these shows has long been spent. But what I'm learning every single time I go to one of these events is that there are millions of stories about Mr. Paulson. I was in the foster system from the time I was 4 months old till 18. I had to go to 7 different homes, and it was really tough. But man, as long as there was a television, Ninja Turtles, whatever, I'm fine now. Here's my family, and we're proudly all dressed in our Ninja frickin' Turtle shirts.
Yeah.
And you will
Or the
never
full
know.
outfits.
Yeah, you will never know what that meant to me, and I didn't. And now I'm starting to get it, and it really is an enormous, as you said, enormous feeling of gratitude. And I think because cartoons are primarily about joy and nostalgia and all that, there is zero downside. I'm so impossibly grateful to be able to do essentially what got me in trouble in 7th grade.
Right.
And people pay me American dollars, and then I go around. I was in Abu Dhabi this year, and Dublin, and all over the lower 48, and Ottawa, Toronto, Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatoon. It's just
I
remarkable.
call him up and say, have coffee. And he says, I'm in Dubai right
I'm
now.
in Dubai.
I can't
No, but
meet you.
it's really remarkable, and I can this excitement that I am sort of displaying is utterly authentic. I cannot tell you how grateful I am to be able to do this. It's remarkable.
Well, you've got the right attitude then.
Isn't it
You know what I
amazing
mean?
that-
I feel like that success comes with that attitude a lot of times.
I hope, and I have to tell you that having had the opportunity to work with the people in this business who could behave any way they want, they've got the money, they got the juice, they've got the legacy, but they choose to be decent.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me a real good context from which to sort of display my behavior. I am not by nature an arrogant person anyway, but as you alluded to earlier, Fireball, that there are people who go to these events and they're just whatever, and I don't get that. I've had the I got
a lot of the people that you're talking about, I knew 10 or so years ago, and some of them have died off.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that these cons are potentially becoming more positive as more people grow
Well, that's
to
exactly
the
right.
place where you are.
And I go to one of the people that shows up at a lot of them is Bill Shatner. William Shatner shows up.
Spectacular.
He's 92.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know it, though.
Not at all.
He's maybe mid-60s when
He's
you're there talking to him.
Full of vigor, and
Yeah.
he totally gets the joke. He takes the piss out of himself. He's just such a terrific guy.
That's a big key, though, is to not
Don't take
take things
yourself too
seriously.
seriously.
It's
Take
like,
yourself too
you know,
seriously.
I'm in a Star Trek series. I mean, how
Yeah.
serious can you get?
Right.
You know,
Right.
I
The
mean,
Star Trek
yeah,
series.
Any at this
Right.
point. I mean, there's 420 Star Wars series. So whatever that you're in,
You got
know,
my vote on that one.
if you live in this town, you're very fortunate to do unique things. And it's not uncommon for me to go to the store and stand in the yogurt aisle next to Dick Van Dyke or
Right.
someone. You
Who
know?
is a
Yeah, well,
delightful
It's just
guy.
stuff. Yeah, just stuff.
You're
that
genuinely
just
friends
happens.
with him. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what happens
and
in
it's-
this
it's-
I've
town.
only met him, and
It's
I thought I was
fascinating.
going to pass out.
Both of us as well.
Yeah, because he's a regular
He's
guy that does
lovely.
something extraordinarily
Yeah.
well. That's all it is.
He's really normal. Like
He
he
is.
draws a dollar out of his pocket, and I chased him.
He was getting in his car, and a dollar fell out of his pocket.
and he's like, "Good thing it's just a dollar." And
Yeah.
I'm like,
He does his own shopping.
Isn't that
For
great?
crying out
That's
loud.
what. This was back when she could walk. She ran over and got it for
Oh,
him and
bless
gave it
your
to him,
heart.
and he goes, "Good thing it's only $1."
Oh,
Just
my
like she said,
God.
it was so adorable because he's Dick Van Dyke all the time.
Yeah. And
he would sing down the aisles by himself. You
Oh,
could
that's
see him
beautiful.
By himself, and he said the music is always in me.
Always.
And-
I've
and-
seen him
Good
videos of him at like the Malibu
national
at
treasure.
Cross Creek. I mean the Starbucks at Cross Creek,
Yeah.
and he'll be in there, and somebody, has their phone, and they'll, Mr. Van Dyke, do you still know supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? And he starts doing it. The whole place lights up. He's 93 or something like that now, 95.
Yeah.
Utterly remarkable. And
Yeah.
And a bunch of 20-year-olds will walk right past him and have no clue.
Yep.
It happens
No
all the
idea.
time.
He's-
It happens
yeah.
constantly
He's
on that
completely
same porch.
fine. Yeah.
Right.
That's hilarious.
No, it's
amazing.
a really lovely thing that to never lose the joy of recognizing the fact that I'm here because I want to be. I chose this business.
That's the only reason you're here.
Nobody shoved the gun in my mouth to say you got to be an actor. So
Oh, at this
if
point in
you're
your-
lucky
yes,
enough
yes.
to make a living, then how on earth can you take it for granted ever? I just don't get it. I know some people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people do. And then sometimes something happens and then that changes you. Some people just, sort of have that greatness
Yeah.
in them the whole time, but sometimes it takes a little kick in the ass from the universe or life or
It
God or
seems
whatever
Totally.
you
like
want to call it.
the
Yep.
connecting rod, the lightning rod, is cars in between everybody.
How about that? Good segue.
It's
How's that?
quite
You're a car
extraordinary.
guy. I didn't know that
I'm
until...
born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, man. I got 10W40 in my
"No
veins.
way."
You know, when I first came across this guy, we had a conversation, but you had the BMW at the time.
That M6.
Yeah, and your agent called me up and said, he loves cars, and I'm like, oh, look, yeah, that sounds like a plan. I don't really care who it is as long as
Sure, it's
they love
cars.
cars, right?
Yeah.
But you was an M6 was
It was an M6 coupe.
M6
yeah.
that you had, and we did an episode of a show I had quite some time ago, and then we circled back maybe a few years later
Yeah.
for some of the upcoming stuff, and when you talk to someone in normal sense about normal things, you can connect on certain points. But the camaraderie that you feel when you meet a car person, that is such a strong,
It really is.
lightning rod for me. And then you can add to that by saying, okay, you're a voice artist. I'm a
Artist.
Yeah, artist is an
well,
artist. Yeah.
There's so many ways in which we express ourselves, creatively speaking.
Yeah.
Is that you could find connections that way, and that's how you build friendships. That's how
Exactly
family
right.
strengthens. That's a lot of this stuff. And I'm very fortunate that I married someone that we have so many things in connection. People ask me, how do you guys stay together? How do you work together, play together, do all these things? Like, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy because we have so much in common. You're the
great.
same way.
Yes.
And so when we got together. And
When
I
you're
found
only
out-
doing the things you love, it's very easy to continue
It's-
doing them.
right.
People don't really
Beautiful.
get that.
That's
People
exactly
don't get
right.
that.
Right. But I wanted to know more of his story about his journey, not only as a voice artist, but his journey through cars. That when you're a kid, you love the Hot Wheels or the Corgis, Dinkies, Matchbox, whatever it is that you're
Sure.
into, and then you segue to that first time when you get your first car. And he has such an amazing story. That's when we got kind of the idea pot that we said, hey, we should do a coloring book that conveys that story in illustration form.
now I see
And that's
what's
what we
going
got for
on
you
here.
today.
Yeah, he
Now I see what's
Fireball
going on.
just
So we are plugging something.
teed it up for me.
We are.
I
We
love
are.
it.
But this is
It's
unique
wonderful.
because it's not just about I don't want to do anything those kinds of products that don't give some kind of value, and I'm not talking about just a coloring book that people color in. The story that is Rob's journey is very inspirational because it goes from someone who essentially didn't have much, coming from a town that is not Hollywood, completely outside of the game, to someone that is heavily vested and not only working from inside the game, but is inspiring from
Yes,
that point.
yes.
And now he travels literally all over the
said.
world, not the country, but all over the world, to fans that are so enormous in so many different pockets that it's an extraordinary thing to experience.
Thank you, pal.
And having a great time doing it.
How long have you
Lucky.
been his agent? Because
No
that's
kidding.
good stuff right there.
I'm
That
going to
is
say, with
good
all due respect
stuff.
to Lou Gehrig, I'm the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
He's the man. Today he's the
Yeah.
man. So,
There you go.
but I have a few things for you guys too.
Okay.
If I
Well,
may. Am I allowed to?
Go on.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna move
Please.
it up. I know that I heard something that you guys like Porsches.
Well,
Am I
we
wrong
have
about that?
one, sure, and
Yes,
it's been very
excellent.
been
I
very
have-
good to us.
This one for
Wow.
Nicole.
Oh, how cool is
Yeah,
that?
because it's
Thank
tiny and it's cute. And then I have two white ones that you guys are going to have to fight over: a '96 Carrera and I didn't bring my glasses. A 993 GT2.
Oh, wow, cool.
Oh my goodness.
Listen, you take whichever one. It's your show.
No. I'm gonna take what's left.
Okay,
Great.
there you go.
All right,
That's
fair
yours.
enough. This
That's
is not
yours.
on. Yep, I had a 95 993.
Did you?
Yep. I had a
You're
brand
a
new 95.
first year guy. I love that.
Yeah, I did. My first 911 was an 87 coupe that, like probably most of us on my wall. I had a German teacher from Germany who drove
Oh,
a 911
talked about the
Targa.
Autobahn and absolutely. Yeah,
all
we
the
all
stuff.
had that same experience.
So it was all about one day.
Was she a sexy German teacher?
Say again?
Was she a sexy German teacher?
She was Ilse, Schildwolf of the SS. No,
Mine was Mr. Davidson.
I just,
so much.
man, I moved to Redondo Beach when I came out here in 1970.
You have to look at your coloring book. 'cause
I
it's
should
in there.
coloring book will tell me. And I lived in Redondo Beach, and it was very close to Waszek Polak
Oh,
Porsche.
of course.
And they had 917, 911 10Ts. They had 917 Longtails, in addition to, their regular stuff for sale.
Yeah.
Man, I became a regular there. Just
Really? It was right on the Sepulveda, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I was literally, I don't know. Well, Vashek was in Hermosa Beach, and I was in Redondo right next door. But, man, I went
Unbelievable.
down there all the time, and just someday. And then finally, in 1988,
Sunday's
bought,
only 10 years later, just
Well,
so everyone's
it
clear.
is,
That's not that
right.
far.
Right around the corner.
I bought my first 911 was an 87 Carrera Coupe in Venetian blue.
Oh.
It had 3,000 miles on it. I bought it at Rusnak in Pasadena. And I thought I was going to lose my mind
Because of.
of having I just literally
experience.
still remember.
Was that the first one you'd ever driven to?
No, I'd driven
Okay.
them, but it's the first one I ever owned. And I remember getting on the freeway there at Colorado and just literally screaming at the top of my lungs with the sunroof and the windows
What
open.
voice did you use?
Didn't, at that time, I used my own because I hadn't yet really gotten fully invested
That's
in
where
the.
they came from, though. All those voices are inspired from the Porsche.
That's
drive.
right. The sound of that
wow.
flat six, incredible. I had a, but remember those?
You were already a driver, right?
I
That's
was.
why you wanted this
Yeah, and
car.
I-
So
but
you're
it-
actually doing it now, and you really are having the experience of driving a race
Yes,
car. on
and
the
it was
street.
all of 217 horsepower in that flat six.
Plenty.
It was
87, you said? So it's
87.
the 3.2.
Right.
Plenty of power.
It was just
And gobs of torque for a 911 at that point.
It was great. And then the first trip I did, I took. We were living in Beverly Hills at that time. We were renting a place right by the Great Western Bank building at the corner of La Cienega and Wilshire. And I told my wife, I said, I have got to take this car just right up PCH and go right to Monterey. I made a big loop, and it was the thrill of a lifetime to be going. Oh my God!
Did you drive it all the way to Monterey?
All the way
Made
to
a big
Monterey
loop
and
all the
make
way?
a big loop back to
Oh,
Beverly
wow.
Hills. And I did that in kind of a long weekend.
Did she go with you or just you?
No,
That's a bonding with the car thing.
yeah, it was fantastic. My wife said, "No, you should go do this by yourself," and I
She
really
couldn't-
appreciate
she
it.
couldn't
No
handle the
interest.
screaming.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? I'm going to do this for you. You go ahead on your own.
This is my gift to you.
It was the best.
Off you go.
yeah.
It was a miraculous, and I don't have a pile of cars, but I've had the opportunity to own a pile of them. So I can have one badass car at a time, and I've been incredibly fortunate. So every time I get a cool car, it's an everyday driver. I live in Agora Hills. I drive back and forth to Burbank several times a week, and I
Tell them
don't
what
want.
you have now, Rob.
I have an AMG GTC Coupe.
Oh, well, it's in the picture that we posted
Oh,
today. Yeah, that's a
man.
beautiful car.
What a
It's
car.
not only is it a beautiful driving car, but it's probably the best looking car made today.
It's a
The
beautiful
interior-
automobile.
The exterior is beautiful, but the interior is incredible.
I'm so impressed with
I
that car,
agree.
you guys. It's
It also still feels like a car to me, which is very rare for
Yeah.
new cars.
Yeah.
well, and they're going to pretty much. I think they've already stopped importing that incredible twin turbo V8.
Right. That's shared in the Aston and all the other
Yes,
stuff.
all the
right?
Aston's got all the
Yeah.
drivetrain and motor, and I had an Aston Vantage, an '87, which was one of the
That's-
two most beautiful cars I've ever had.
I agree, but most people don't like that.
yeah,
little...
it was clunky, and the transmission was kind of wonky, but that's not what I bought it for. I bought it to have the experience of having an Aston, and
You bought it for the nonsense.
yeah, it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Every angle on that car was absolutely stunning.
What do you think of the new one?
Well, it's great. It's got an AMG engine in it.
We just
Yeah.
had it as a press car recently,
Did ya?
the F1 edition.
Yeah.
And it's fierce. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah,
a
it's
hell
got
of a car.
510 horsepower, I think, which is it
I
has
think
the
it
same
was bumped up for the F1 to like 545
right.
or something like
it
that.
had
yeah.
the entry level Vantage has the same engine and drivetrain as my previous car, which was an AMG C63S.
Interesting.
505 horsepower or something.
So they get
Plenty.
the good engines, but they get them a little bit later.
They get them a little bit later.
Okay.
But I have to say, now, if AMG is providing the drivetrain,
Why wouldn't you buy
why
them?
that car's now utterly bulletproof.
Yeah.
I have 32,000 on my car. It's a 2019 AMG GTC. I drive it in 115-degree heat. Doesn't matter. Doesn't load up. It gets 25 miles to the gallon on the freeway with 550 horsepower.
It's a lot of power, and it's kind of heavy. How are you on tires?
Well, I've been pretty good.
If you
'cause
like to drive.
Yeah, I drive. I live in Agora Hills, so I'm right close to the,
Yeah,
Malibu
everywhere
Creek
we
State.
go, yep.
Yeah. Mulholland, all of that. But, yeah, it goes through tires a little bit.
I'm not complaining about that.
no,
That's
no, but
the price of entry. in my
Relative, it is certainly not an inexpensive car, but relative to the cars with which it competes, it's quite a bargain.
I've heard it's pretty good on maintenance as well, which is why I think it's probably good.
It's a Mercedes.
you're only doing the buy-in. You don't have to keep laying
not
out
at
every
all.
month.
But if you're not going through tires, you're not driving the car.
Right. It's remarkable.
I'm-
It, the
Tires
dual
and
clutch
windshield.
transmission it shifts really quickly. It's plenty, and you
Yeah.
don't see that many of them.
He got
that
out
one the
here
8-speed?
for this interview yesterday. Yeah, he left today, but he
That's right.
got here yesterday.
Yes, that's how
it's fast.
It's so how fast was it?
Yeah.
Is it the 8-speed automatic or
Seven
is it
speed,
the
seven
DCT?
speed, yeah,
Oh,
seven
that's
speed
nice.
dual clutch transmission.
The Aston doesn't get that.
That's true, and it shifts plenty quick. But hell, even Pagani, their motor is from AMG. It's a 12.
Wasn't Pagani just announced too? Their next
Yeah.
Yes,
they're
the
gonna have
brand
a
new
manual?
one.
Did you see that? Did you see the
I
interior?
can't- yes, and I
quite
don't even
beautiful.
understand how that's all going to work.
Yeah.
I can't
They've
wait.
got I think a 7-speed shift gate.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Just-
really a
But
beautiful
the idea
car.
that it's got a clutch, but you don't need to press the pedal or something too. Like it's also really smart as well.
It's
It's going to be like a smart
remarkable.
Presses
manual.
it for you. Does it drive for you? Does it?
I don't know.
Well, and the color that they show in the release, the press release, is kind of like a champagne.
Yeah, but
Gorgeous
it's,
car.
Yeah, but every time I look at the interior, the guts of it,
Yeah.
the intricacies, the details.
Oh, my
the-
God.
It reminds me of what's the other car? It felt like a submarine.
Yeah.
The
Spiker?
Spiker.
Yeah.
it
Oh,
had-
yeah,
had
that Dutch
remnants of
car.
that.
Just because
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
so over everything.
Yeah.
Every
over-engineered.
single piece
Yes.
was thought out like, hey,
But almost
this
not
is
even
how you normally do it,
over-engineered.
But how do we do it?
It's
Oh
like
my God.
over detailed. It's
Yeah,
like
well,
steampunk.
it is
Yeah, that's
literally
right.
like a watch, and
right.
I've seen, in fact, on Jay Leno's, a couple of times he had Horacio Pagani on, and they would talk about, the engineering of
Is that the
billet-
son or the dad? That's the dad, right?
That's the guy, the man, the gentleman who who does it now, who signs every car.
Okay.
But one of the cool things is when you buy a Pagani, the Pagani logo is carved or engineered out of a block of billet aluminum, and then they give you the
Oh,
block
hilarious.
of aluminum that the name was taken out of.
No way.
Oh yeah, it's
With the negative.
with the
blank.
negative.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
it's really amazing. But just looking at the engine compartment on that Pagani with the shock absorbers and
Oh, this new one. Yeah. I
God,
can't-
it's just art.
Pagani had Johnny Lieberman bring up the, okay, I gotta get this right, the Huayra BC
Right.
Roadster
Right.
up to GVBC. They had him drive it.
Oh, was that
all
right?
The way up, all the way up the crest.
Oh,
they had a
my
follow van or
God.
whatever that was not right behind them, and he
It's a
took it the
$3.5
whole way.
million dollar car.
It's 3.7 or
Yeah.
9 or something like that. It was almost $4 million bucks.
It takes,
before you get
it
to
takes
the taxes. and
Fireball
It's just a
2
car,
years to
man.
make that kind of money.
Just a car.
But so he had him drive it up, and then they get it there, and of course they open it up,
Yeah.
and we're all. I don't care about that type of car.
Yeah.
But then once it's there in front of you, it's like you said, the Swiss watch or
Oh
a
my
fancy
yeah.
espresso
God.
machine or something that's so intricate in detail
Everything.
where you once you open it up, you go, well, it's hard not to be impressed by that.
Oh my God!
If all
the-
that billet was bronze, I mean, it would be steampunk.
it would be totally
yeah,
steampunk.
it's just a color.
But the
color
way every screw, they're all titanium. They all have Pagani
Yeah.
on the head of the screw.
Yeah, and they're all turned the same
Oh,
way so
all
that
the
they
twin-
land right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely astonishing. It really is
Like
a
engineered
rolling
to do
piece
that.
Of, yes, it's a remarkable thing.
All right, even if you had the money, would you ever have one?
Probably not, because I'm one of those guys that I think, because I still feel like a guy from Flint or Detroit, that if I had the kind of money where I could afford those cars, I'd probably have 30 or 40 other ones.
Yeah. Or you'd do something else with the money.
Right.
I'm the same.
I would think, I would hope, and I believe that were I in that position, I would have 2 or 3, maybe 4 lovely cars of my choice, and one I could work on because I love to work on cars.
Oh.
And then I would probably put together what's the one? A scholarship fund, or put
The
together
Pagani Scholarship Fund.
something like that.
You could
Genius.
buy,
I just-
buy Corvettes for all your buddies.
Exactly. I just
all
I
of your
would
buddies.
hope-
For everyone you've
for
ever
everyone
met.
I've ever met, literally.
All 6.
A foundation. I would like to think
There it
that I
is.
could do that,
Yeah.
because once you got that kind of dough, there's a point at which you go, well, I've got generational wealth now. My son and his wife and everybody's taken
They're
care
fine,
of. And,
yeah.
Maybe I
I
could
just
pay
want to
off a
drive
few
them.
mortgages.
I mean,
you know.
I
That's
think
what it comes down
that's
to for
the
me.
experience for me.
Yeah.
Is that I have no desire. Billions of dollars, just
wanna
unlimited
drive it.
funds. Yeah, I just want to be able to drive them. But once
same here.
I've done that, and I've had that experience, I have no desire to park it in the garage.
Hey man,
and then
I'm
drive
with
it
you.
again on the weekends.
I buy my car because to be able to drive it, and I have a neighbor whom I just adore, and he just bought a 2021 GT2 RS,
Oh, good Lord.
and it's beautiful. And he says, "God, I've probably made $100,000 on it in the last 6 months." And I said, "But do you drive it?" And he really doesn't.
No.
Yeah,
That's the problem with a lot of the new cars, too, is they're
I-
appreciating at such a rate where
Yeah.
it almost doesn't make sense to drive them.
I
And
just-
that's a bummer to me.
Every
Yeah,
now and then I'll
yeah.
see a little nick, and I go, "Oh well, c'est la vie," and the
Yeah.
car's wrapped, and I'll get it rewrapped or whatever. But I still do. I wear long sleeves in the summer because I pinch myself all the time, going, "Oh my God, I'm driving it AMG GTC on my way to Nickelodeon. This is I just love that whole feeling, you know? It's great.
Yes. But again, I celebrate you for recognizing it because a lot of people aren't present enough to appreciate the moment. They're too busy they're angry about yesterday or too busy focusing on tomorrow.
I've had 4 911s. I put over 100,000 miles on each one, including a 96 twin turbo, which I wish I still had. But 100,000
Would you like the
miles
96 twin turbo over the 95 non-turbo? Because
well,
the 993 is probably my favorite generation because that's what I was
beautiful.
driving when I
and
got
I had
into
it,
Porsche.
Right, I bought that the 993, the 1995 993 was my first new Porsche. I had the 87 Carrera for, I don't know, it had about 6 years, and then we moved out to Agora, so I had to downsize a little bit, and I bought which was really a great car. I bought an Infiniti Q45, which was a really great.
All those. I had an
car.
FX, and people didn't believe how much I liked the car.
I was really
it was
impressed
a really
with
good
it.
car.
I ended up selling it to my mother-in-law, and she drove it for 200,000
It's
miles.
just a Nissan. It's a fancy Nissan. Yeah.
And so then I got the 95
It's
993.
the weird things that you get shamed for, like, oh, my Q45, and I'm getting ridiculed.
It's a great car. But
But I'm still driving it.
Yeah,
and you're on your 4th car.
But
Yeah,
I put
sure.
97,000 miles on that 95 993, and then I traded it a few years later for a 996 twin turbo that had about 12,000 miles on it because I'd always wanted a turbo.
Yep.
But
It's a
it
different
was brutal.
experience, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was you had to really want to drive it, and so I had it about 2 years. My wife hated it because it was not comfortable, but that's not why I bought it, you know. But it had 400 horsepower. Now people go, pfft, you know, my
Oh, but
400
it weighs
horsepower.
nothing though.
Yeah.
It's also
Oh,
like
no, it was
2,500 pounds or
crazy
something like
torque.
that.
Yeah. Crazy torque and tail happy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was all-wheel drive, but it was tail
Yeah,
happy. It was
no,
weird.
it wasn't all-wheel drive. It was just rear-wheel drive. The 996 twin, I don't think it was.
I
You
think
may
that
be-
was the
well, then
first.
you're
I
right.
think that was the first one.
You're probably right.
But that's one of the reasons I liked the regular. Call it a regular or an S, just the
Mm-hmm. Right.
the two wheel drive variants.
Yeah.
And the non-turbo, it felt more Volkswagen-y to me,
It
and there's
did,
a
and it-
happiness to that I like.
I love still to this day the sound of that flat 6 air-cooled engine. It's just beautiful.
It
What do
is.
you guys have? What do you?
It's a 997.
Right
Great.
there. They parked it right
Oh,
there.
Somebody,
it's right there. No
somebody
kidding.
did. Somebody made that for us. Yeah, it's a 997, but it does look just like that with the 111s, and
That's
it's yellow.
great. Was it?
and
Is it
it's-
a Targa?
No,
Oh.
that's just how the toy was.
That's. But I look back and every single one of them was fantastic. I had the only 911 I had trouble with was I had a 99 cab, 99 cab, and they had issues with the engine seals going south, and
It was the IMS and the RMS, the rear main seal.
right,
Okay.
and the oil would start to mix, with the coolant, and it was a real mess. But Rusnak, I bought the car in Thousand Oaks, and Rusnak did a preemptive strike. They said, "Look, we know you're a customer. You bought a lot of cars here. This engine is going to go way too soon.
Yeah.
So here's what you do. You bring it to us. We will make sure you have not necessarily a 911, but you will have a driver, and we'll replace the engine and the clutch.
Yeah. There was a
Free of
campaign.
charge.
There was a
It
campaign
was
for it.
Great.
Yeah.
At 36,000 miles or something, they put
Brand
a
new engine.
brand new engine. Yeah.
And from what my understanding was, they were actually crate motors versus like a rebuild. Not a
Oh, no.
The block would have been new, but
I
they would
was-
have put all of
Yep.
your
Yeah.
accessories on it. And I think the crate motor is what you
It
got
was.
in that
My
situation.
mechanic, Mark, called me up and he said, "Hey, man, you want to see your engine?" And I got there and it was literally in a box.
all built, ready to
All
go.
built, brand new. And,
That's what you want.
yeah, I said, "Man, you..."
That's a $35,000
Oh
piece
my
of equipment,
God.
I'm sure.
And they didn't even worry about, they didn't even want to wait till it started to go south. They said, "This is going to happen. We just want you to know it's not worth making
well,
a
Porsche
recall."
paid them because there was a campaign.
Yeah.
But still,
But
good
it
for
was
them for
great.
reaching out to you
Yeah,
as a
oh,
customer
totally.
They
before
didn't
it
have to
became
do
a
it that
problem.
It was
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
But that was the only one that had an issue. But and then I had it and put another 70,000 miles on it with that new engine. So I've had virtually 100,000 mile on every 911 I've had.
Our car we bought with 30,000 miles, and it had just had a similar thing because the
Right.
same thing. The campaign was still existing, so somebody
Great.
had replaced it. So
You bought a new car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We bought a 30,000 mile brand new car.
and let somebody else take a hit on it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
Big
exactly.
hit.
We've had it for only like 6 years or so. And it's just about to hit 100,000 miles.
Good
So
for
we drive
you.
it too.
Isn't that the greatest?
Yes.
I just love it. I love it. In fact, even when I had that Aston, I drove it. I put 60,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And I remember taking it to my first.
The 87? Or the,
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it was a gorgeous color called California Sage. Oh, Sage Green. Yeah, California Sage with a dark green interior. And I took it to service at about 30,000. And I remember I had this British mechanic who worked at the Aston Martin place. And he said,
That's all they'll allow.
how about that? He said, good for you for driving the goddamn thing. He said, we have a lot, as you can imagine, we have a lot of our customers are very well-to-do, and they might have 20 cars, one of which is an Aston or a DBS, whatever, DBS or DB9. And they come and they say, freaking thing is leaking out. Well, it's got 80 miles on it, and it's 2 years old.
Yeah.
They literally don't drive it.
Right. That's another reason I would never have the 30-car
Yeah,
solution.
I
I
want-
could probably find 10 cars that I absolutely love the driving
And drive
experience
them.
of, and I would find those,
Absolutely.
and I would get ones that I could drive and maintain.
I love driving that car. I don't worry if it gets a little nick in it. That's part of the deal.
I know you're happy with it now, but what would you get next? Are you looking at anything currently?
Well, I've always, I guess
And would
because
you
I'm a big
continue to
Formula
go
One.
new?
Say again?
And would you continue to go new? Because we hit our front of new cars. That M4 was when the M4 first came out, whatever
Right.
that year was. That was the last of the new modern computer cars for us. Then we went backwards to
Right.
the 997.
I had an M6, a 2013 M6, which was a lovely car, but it was really heavy. And it was not a sports car. It was a GT car.
Yeah, I agree. It was spectacular.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
so fast.
No problem. It was like driving a bank vault. It was heavy and solid, but it's not really. It wasn't really tossable.
Right.
You know, I have to say that although the AMG is not light, it's about 3,700 pounds, but it
hide
has
it
rear
well.
wheel steering, and I'm telling you, the way it moves through. Oh my God!
The
it's
first
just
time you
remarkable.
shit your pants, though.
Oh yeah.
Because I thought it was
definitely
breaking.
got my
I
attention.
thought it was breaking. It happened in the 911 too with that
Yeah.
rear steer, where you don't know what it's going to feel like,
Right.
and then it goes, and you think you're going, and you're not.
Yeah,
And you
oh,
put
no.
more pedal down.
I have a lot more confidence in the car than I did when I first got it. But it is a truly remarkable car, and it's really front mid, like an F12.
Right.
Because all the weight of the motor is well rear of the front axle.
Right.
So I think it's
You got that Batmobile front end.
Oh man.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Long hood.
really great. I'm so happy with it.
Did you answer the question? What are you going to get next?
Oh, next. As a big
I
Formula-
buried- I buried the
Dying,
question in my own-
Waiting, and there's
know.
all this stuff going on. Like,
That's
what
my
the hell
fault.
is it?
It's no wonder that I'm Yakko from Animaniacs, so I won't shut the hell up. But I'm a big Formula One nut, and my team when I was a kid, I was a big Bruce McLaren fan.
Oh, sure.
So I really got the hots for that 720S. That's so much money. I don't know that I'll ever be. Even if I bought a used one, it would still probably be 285, 3.25, and I don't have Fireball money. He's
I got the car. You want the car? You can have it.
He's got that under the front seat of the Bentley.
It's ridiculous how the market works because somebody can afford cars that they couldn't yesterday because of what their car
Yeah.
yesterday is worth today.
Today. Yeah.
It's very, very strange.
Like Jay Leno has one of a very few of that F1, that McLaren F1.
the old the original F1.
What
Yeah,
are they worth? About
20 million. They're trading at 20 million most recently.
at Monterey, I think
Yes.
this year. Yeah, it's just impossible.
That's one of
And
his cars.
I don't. That's the McLaren is the car that I would have if I had several cars. I don't think that's necessarily an everyday driver.
You'd be surprised.
Is that right?
That's pretty sure. I had a friend that
Well,
drove that
then I hope
every
I'm
single
wrong
day.
because I really would like, and I'd
Yeah.
buy a used one.
Yeah,
I'd buy
And this, I love the 650.
the older one.
Yeah. Frank Stephenson designed the 650, and we did a book with him. And every time I see one, I take a picture and I say, "Hey, Frank, check out this POS I found.
Yeah.
What is this?"
Beautiful.
Because Fireball's hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look at the 720 is
That's
so
a
much
funny
nicer.
comedy joke. Yeah, no, that 650 is beautiful, and there are, and you can get those at a pretty good
Yeah,
deal. And
yeah,
same
you
with
can,
the
yeah.
MP12C. The first.
Now that one I liked. I thought that was kind of a neat,
Yeah,
interesting.
it looks really
It's
great.
just very
and
unique looking.
It's those are trading at a pretty good number.
I I think the 720 is more. The language on that is a bit more beautiful.
I
really
love
like it.
the 720.
Yeah.
But
It's
we have a friend who
gorgeous.
is the 765 the new 720.
Yeah, the
is that
7
right?
LT.
So our
Yeah.
friend had the 720 and
Yeah.
he traded it for the 760. Not traded it, but whatever.
Right.
He traded up, but because of the fucking ridiculous market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really no sense to
No,
do
it's
that. It just
it's
it did
Jabberwocky.
make sense to do it.
Sure.
He got an allocation thanks to a friend, and
Yeah.
it didn't make sense to not do it. And that's what kind of it gets me these days.
Yeah.
With the new cars and your friend with the GT2 RS and
Oh,
everything
yeah.
that he doesn't drive because he's made $100,000 on it by
On
having it sit
yeah.
in the garage
and
for a month.
And he's got a couple other cars, but I would have a real problem not driving that car. I Jesus Christ, I live 5 minutes from the Rock store.
Yeah.
This is motorcycle car heaven. How could you not drive that car? I don't know. I don't play games at that level financially.
Right.
And while my car was not inexpensive, it's affordable, and I'm getting value. I just love it. I
Oh,
love it.
perceived value from your own enjoyment.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
absolutely.
It's
to
fun
me,
to-
that's all it's worth.
Just looking at it, I just kept going, oh my God. I fooled these people in Hollywood for 45 goddamn years. How did that happen? It's crazy.
All right, so that's a great segue right there because I
Thank
wrote
you.
a couple things down here.
Oh, good.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to jump back. I
Please,
went on IMDb and I went to the bottom and I started scrolling up before I got dizzy.
I am so
So
grateful.
all this stuff
Thank
is
you
older.
for you and your lovely wife for lowering your entertainment standards for me. That's very kind of you. Very nice.
St. Elsewhere? Episode of St. Elsewhere.
I was
Denzel Washington,
yeah.
Howie Mandel. I'm trying to think.
David Morse.
David
great
Morse
actors.
and from Knight Rider, the voice of Knight Rider. I can't think of his
Oh
name
yeah,
right now. William Daniels.
Ken Daniels.
William Daniels. I
Yeah,
think.
William Daniels. Right. He was also the president of Screen Actors Guild for a while.
That's
Bill
right,
Daniels.
yeah.
Yeah. I did. Well, I came out to L.A. ostensibly to do music and on-camera stuff. My background is music and stage, theater, and all that. So I moved here.
Music is in performing, singing, or
yeah.
playing instruments.
Singing.
Amazing singer.
Beautiful.
Thank you, pal. So I came here, and that's what I was doing. Commercials. I probably did 40 on-camera commercials and half a dozen episodic MacGyver, St. Elsewhere, Amazing Stories.
All the shows we grew up with,
Just
by the
great
way.
fun. But as you guys know, when you're a non-celebrity talent, you're at least at that stage of your career limited first by the way you look. You know, if you get a call for an average-looking Caucasian kid to come in and be the son of the older guy or the young father or whatever, and I was doing all of that. It was going great. I was doing a lot of jingles and singing demos for.
Oh,
people
I
that-
see your point. It doesn't matter how good you are. You're at the mercy of whatever they
Totally.
are looking.
And I was getting my share of work. I was doing fine, building up there. But then my agent called in the middle 80s and said, you ever thought about doing animation? I said, well, sure, but this many people do all of it. And in those days, animation was relegated to Saturday morning and a couple maybe local shows that might be syndicated. But I said, well, yeah, I just want to work. And the first shows that I worked on, that they sent me to audition for, were G.I. Joe and Transformers.
Oh, two huge
And
hits.
The first episode I did, I called my agent and said, man, send me out for more of this. I worked with actors whom I recognized from episodic television growing up, and they were utterly unlimited by anything but their creativity. This is literally like getting together with your friends and saying, okay, you be the monster,
Oh, my
and I'm going to
gosh.
be the monster killer. And that's
Just
exactly
doing
what
scratch
it was.
with each other.
It was the best. So probably about 7 or 8 years later, I just kind of let the on-camera stuff go because I was starting to book a lot of animation stuff. And then because I was a singer, I started getting hired at Disney to sing on stuff, and it was a good choice because I still get to work almost every week on a new show or a show that's already established. I'm constantly auditioning for new things, but now, as a result of these lovely conventions, I can go and meet people and have this glorious experience of feeling like this work is way bigger than my paycheck.
And you can do
There
it in
it
your
is.
underwear.
Yes, I go to the cons in my underwear.
No, you do the work in your underwear.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
can
see.
work from home. Yeah.
Yeah, when people start running out of the convention, you know that
There
Rob's
you
there.
go.
He's
There I
doing
am.
his signing right now.
In my underwear. Yeah. But no, it's great, and I would, every now and then somebody will call me for an on-camera thing, and I'll say, yeah, sure, it'd be fun. But I have no regrets that I went this way.
Do you realize that? I mean, I don't know if the significance. I was born in the 70s and watched all of the TV in the 80s and 90s, all of it, every single bit. I was the first generation that was raised by the box.
Fantastic. So you were a Ninja Turtle guy, man.
I'm of that generation. And my parents were divorced and they both worked. So I just was around. I'm an only child, so I had the box.
Yeah.
But there are so many people like me, and they're all of the people that are at Comic-Con or at a Hollywood show.
You're absolutely right, Jay. Hundreds of thousands of them.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is you guys are not just actors, voice actors, whatever the work was to you at that time. What you're, I think, experiencing now, and it sounds like you have wonderful gratitude for, is the fact that you and people like you helped form people like me and our personalities and the way we view the world and the way we want to be better in the world that we live in, et cetera, et cetera. There's a certain gratitude that we, the fans, all have towards you and people like you. So I hope that you know it's a two-way street.
Well, I do, and the reason I know that is, thank you. I don't really know that there could be a higher compliment paid to somebody than that people will say, and it happened again this last weekend. There was a gentleman who stood in line for probably 45 minutes, and all he wanted to do was say, I met you in Toronto 5 years ago, and you recorded a voicemail for my dad's phone because he loves Pinky and the Brain. Well, and then he took a break, and he said, I'm going to really try. My father passed away a year and a half ago. And then he just lost it. The guy was your size, probably your age. And he said, I don't need an autograph. I've got plenty of them. You just need to hear this. So this guy drove a couple hours, bought a ticket to get in, stood in line just to say, you will never know what it meant to my old man. And every time I watch Pinky and the Brain now, I just think of my dad, and it's a connection that I will never not have. Honest to Christ, how on earth can you, how could I not look at that and be utterly speechless? That a man would come up and be so honest and authentic that in front of all these people, he's got tears streaming down his face to tell some knucklehead from California.
That's what it's all about.
It is, Jay.
Because you're retelling that story. That's why it's happening.
It's
Other people are affected by that.
They really are, and I don't care if it's The Simpsons or Darkwing Duck or
I think
Flintstones.
In many ways, it's the emotional connection that we can all say we know where we were when 9/11 happened.
Absolutely.
Right. And
way to break it down, but
well,
sure.
Yeah,
but yes.
But at the same time, as a child, you're very impressionable, and you would remember certain key things.
And that's when you're
with cartoons and
for sure.
and a lot of these things in the shows
the
that I grew up
impressionable.
with, Brady Bunch and all these kinds of things, which I just saw the house recently.
Yeah.
By accident.
It's only 2 blocks from here.
Yeah, it's right
a
down
block
the
and a
road,
half
yeah.
I
from
was
here.
actually over there, and we were looking at the house, and this lady comes walking down, and she's my age. She's walking her dog and has a child with her and everything else. And I said, hey, did you ever watch the Brady Bunch as a kid? She goes, oh my God, yeah, I watched it all the time. I go, did you know that the house, that's the house? And
right there.
She kind of looks at it, and she looks back at me, and then she looks at it again. She goes, wait, that's not, we've lived here for 11
Yeah,
years.
how about that?
We had no idea this was even here. She was literally on the same street.
And now it looks exactly like
It
it
really
did in
does.
the TV show because
Absolutely.
they've just restored it
Yeah.
to
But
match the show.
making that connection is that's what those people are bringing.
It's
when they come to
astonishing, and
convention.
it never is. It is never not overwhelming, and it's so sweet because often people say they're so kind. They'll say, I know you hear this all the time, and I stop and say, but it's the first time you've told me.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal. And let me tell you, if you ever get an actor who blows you off because that's really, really inappropriate.
Again, I need names.
Oh my God.
The best guys are the stuntmen and the guys that play the bad guys when it
Oh,
comes
yeah.
to
Oh, a lot of bad guys
So
have
fun.
to be good,
Yeah.
otherwise they just
Yeah.
get spit on
But
the street.
I have a friend, Stuart Wilson, who was Bruce Willis's stunt double up until Bruce
Yeah.
retired.
Sure.
And nicest, most hysterical guy. And these guys are risking their lives for
Sure.
a living. And humor and making fun of themselves is what keeps them alive.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And those kind, it's rare when you come across.
From my
someone-
experience, they all really want to do it.
Yeah, no, they
From
do.
my experience, they want to. The higher the jump,
Yeah,
the
they
bigger the
do.
fall, whatever.
They do, but there's a duality to them, that that level of seriousness that you have to realize what you're about to do. They balance that by their sense of giving, their sense of kindness, their sense of connection with people. You know,
Right.
And Tony Dow used to
Well,
talk
they
about
take
this
their
a
life
lot.
into their hands every day, so
Yeah.
they understand the value of a
Sure.
life.
Well said. Yeah.
But Tony would go to a convention, and every single person
Oh,
in
my
line,
God. Can you
he was
imagine?
their older brother.
You bet.
Yeah, he literally
He
everyone
was the
from
older
that
brother
generation.
that they had
Oh,
an older brother
gee.
like him, or they had an older brother that was a total jerk, and they wish they had Tony, or whatever that connection was. But they walked up and saw him and admired him.
And he was
just-
I didn't know him like you did, but I never heard anything but, I worked with Tony Dow. Oh my God, he was the greatest
Yeah.
guy. And every time I see him interviewed, utterly authentic,
Yeah.
genuine, kind,
Yep.
and grateful.
Yeah. And it's a
Heard the
blessing.
same.
It's funny how a lot of people that are like you that don't go to conventions, they don't want to
Right.
interact like that. It scares them, or
I think that's a lot of people until the first one, and then you see that it's not maybe what you're fearing.
Right. Well, I heard this is a really great story about deciding to go to conventions. And by the way, if there's an actor who says I love my work, but I'm not comfortable, I'd really rather not go, that I can respect. Don't go there and take their money and their first class airline
Yeah.
ticket
Yeah.
and be a dick.
Yeah, that's what your
That's why I have a
point
problem.
before. Yeah.
Right.
But I remember the late great Rene Aubergenois,
Oh,
wonderful guy. And
I didn't know he passed away. He won an Oscar. He won an Emmy with us on The Practice.
yeah.
With David E. Kelly.
And he
Very
was
talented.
also a Star Trek person. He was,
of
I forgot
course,
what
yeah.
Next Gen, wasn't he in
Next Generation.
He had an appliance. That's
Right,
right. I remember
right.
that.
Really
No, that was
lovely
real.
guy.
He looked like
Oh,
that.
that's
Bad acne. But we were working on something, and I asked him about going to, because before the sort of explosion of Comic Cons, it was Star Trek conventions were a big deal for a long time.
Yeah. That's where
So-
the Trekkie term came
Right.
from, right?
And those were, you'd hear about Star Trek conventions. Now, of course, it's just Comic Cons everywhere.
It's everything, yeah.
But I said, do you do a lot of Trek convention? He said, I didn't, Rob, but I learned a really valuable lesson. He said, this was right at the heat, that the time that Star Trek was really killing it. We'd been on for a couple of years, and everybody's going nuts. We were doing great. And I had turned down a lot of Trek conventions because I thought, I don't want to just sit there all day and nobody talk to me or whatever. And so one of the other people said, well, you should just let's just go do one. He said, the first convention I went to, I met, on the second day of it, I met a woman whose family brought her, and she was kind of laid out in a gurney, who appeared to be, because he said, appeared to me to be someone who could have been a thalidomide baby from the 50s, born in the 50s, who was born and lived her whole life in the gurney, on the gurney.
Wow.
Some people are in an iron lung. This one just happens to be on a gurney.
Right.
Yep.
And so they brought her up, and the woman was able to speak very well, but her body was basically just a container for her spirit. And Renee said, once I got past the fact that it was a little off-putting, it was hard for me to just see this woman who I thought, oh my God, how does this poor woman? She was delightful, upbeat, and she said, Mr. Aubergenois, thank you for coming. Thank you for portraying the character you portray, because I feel like an alien every single day of my life. Every time my family takes me out, and God bless them, they try to make me happy and enjoy my life. And obviously, kids look at me a little weird, and grown-ups say, don't stare, honey. But you give me a connection. You are your character is something that makes total sense to me. That if you showed up on Earth, people would look at you sideways, and you would have to figure out a way to communicate. I cannot tell you what it means to be able to look forward to seeing something and someone whom I can relate to, because I don't feel like this is it for me.
Right.
And he said, I had no idea that this character was that powerful to at least one human, and it gave me a totally different
Yeah.
context from which to view
Well, he was
my
such
work.
a serious actor. I mean,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
so freaking good
Yeah.
that he perhaps maybe thought he was slumming it on Star Trek or something.
Yeah, well,
for
that's
a little
exactly.
bit. Oh,
yeah.
this isn't
we
really.
thought,
I
it's
got
kind of
all
a
this
big
makeup on.
makeup and all that. He said, utterly changed my life.
Outstanding.
Isn't
That's
that
beautiful.
something?
It's beautiful.
And
It's
that's
beautiful.
Yeah.
literally all it is. It's a shift in perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, when you and that's it was important for Kathy and I when we traveled that we go to for a period of time to go to third world countries.
Oh,
because
yeah.
We wanted
Good for
to see
you.
the reality of that people actually lived lives that
Sure
were
kind
not anything like
It
ours.
sort of
you
puts
know?
into perspective what a problem is, doesn't it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Can you believe the new Pagani's gated shifter
I know.
doesn't have a?
Jesus Christ. I spent all my money on this frickin' car,
it's annoying.
and it's like that humble brag. Which Lambo am I driving today? I
Yeah,
mean, God, if
yeah.
my teeth are different, maybe I should buy the Pearl Lambo. I don't know. Yeah.
Another Malibu taxi just went by. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Malibu taxi. Fire away, boss.
Body double.
Oh, my God.
Every
Great
time I
story
drive
about
up Vineland, I look up at the Kingsphere, the beautiful
house.
Lautner house
Yep.
that's up there.
Beautiful.
We look at it from our pool, that and the old Back to the Future ride and
Sure.
Hogwarts Castle and everything. A friend of mine was the AD on that movie,
Oh, my
Bruce
God.
Humphreys.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
What was the experience?
Okay.
Does anybody remember this movie, Body
Great
Double?
question.
It's a really fun movie from the 80s.
I do. It's
a great murder mystery.
Right. Murder mystery with Craig Wasson and
Craig
Melanie
Wasson.
Griffith. Directed by
Brian De Palma?
Brian De Palma.
Yeah.
This was the first movie he did after Scarface.
Were you on camera?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was on. Yeah. So it was the first movie he did after Scarface, which, as you may remember, although it was quite successful, he got a lot of heat for it being essentially an X-rated movie.
Yeah.
So Brian and I
With the
remember
violence, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
the violence. And I remember reading an article in the LA Times in which he said, if they want an X-rated movie, I'll fucking give them one. So he makes Body Double, which is a murder mystery that's centered around the pornographic movie industry. Okay, so I get hired. I went to read for Mr. De Palma, and I went to read for a part I ended up not getting. But Brian De Palma likes to improvise, so he'll have you do it one way and then just say, throw the script away, let's just play. And I happen to be pretty good at that.
That's sort of what you do.
I do
yeah.
a lot of improvising. Done a lot of work with it. So I got home, and my agent left a message saying, well, they want to hire you. Not for the part that you went in for, but Mr. De Palma thought you'd be right for something else. So you got 3 days' work. You're going to be at a location at Heliotrope and Melrose, downtown. And off you go. So I got down there, and it probably was Mr. Humphreys whom I was speaking
Hilarious.
to. And I remember that at the time, Melanie was, I'm not telling tales out of school. She had some issues with substance abuse.
It was public knowledge.
Right,
It was
public
yeah.
knowledge.
Yeah.
And so I remember it was like a movie within a movie. I get there, and
That's the inspiration for the title.
yeah.
Yeah.
The AD is there, very kind of trying, very nonchalant. Melanie, honey, we're ready for you. We're coming out. Okay. I thought, wow, this is like a movie in a movie. I'm watching this. And,
Yeah. Mr. DeMille?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I'm ready. Yes. Only the pictures got small.
There you go.
So ultimately, I'm playing a pornographic movie cameraman in a scene that's going to be, I think it was Frankie Goes to Hollywood was playing a Relax, Don't Do It.
Yeah.
And there were
It's a
authentic...
montage type
yes,
of thing.
Yes,
Yes.
And the guy who was the director to my cameraman, you saw Scarface.
Yeah, a
you
long
remember
time
that?
ago, but yes.
There was a guy who was in a famous murder scene where he cut a guy apart with a
Oh,
chainsaw.
sure, yeah.
That guy was the director because Brian liked him. The chainsaw guy.
The victim,
Very,
yeah, the chainsaw victim.
yeah, I forgot what he looked like. But anyway, he was the director and I'm the cameraman. Okay, so
This is a creepy movie. You'd probably really
Oh,
like
yeah.
it. It's one of those 80s,
I feel like it sounds
cheesy,
like
Pretty
sleazy,
intense.
but also
But you'd like
pretty
it.
good. And like
Yeah.
the script's good enough when you're like, what is going on
Right.
here?
Is that
So-
your favorite creepy 80 movies?
what?
Yeah, creepy 80s movies. That's your favorite?
I haven't seen it. I know the title, but I
Right.
feel like I
Genre-wise,
would
like
oh.
murder mystery, that type
Yeah,
of
it's
thing.
a-
She's
it's
into-
a-
she's into those.
Yeah.
But the okay, so the scene, Steve Burham was the DP and Mr. De Palma, and they cleared the set except for Melanie and the extras in this pornographic movie montage, and the extras were all real porno actors.
Right.
So
oh,
here's
so
little
they're
Rob
really.
Paulson at 29 years old.
This is great.
And I'm on this set, and all of a sudden, forgive me, but all of a sudden I see girls and guys doing this to themselves to fluff and get
Sure,
ready.
sure.
And I'm just going,
Yeah.
what? And give up show business? I was
This is
really,
like that scene in the Christmas movie, Love Actually, where they're
oh my
like
God,
the extras.
I really was
I'm getting paid for this.
I was really, I mean, this was, I
Some
didn't know
business.
what to say. You know, it's my job, so I did, anyway.
But you're right about the Brian De Palma thing because he was trying to push the envelope in every
Absolutely.
different
Yeah, yeah.
direction.
Yes, and so it was an authentic. Okay, so in this particular scene, there's a part of the action, and the director calls cut, and then my character, the cameraman, looks out from beside the camera and says, "Where's the cum shot?"
Oh my God, I totally remember that.
Right?
Well, of course, it's a hell of a line.
And the guy says, and I said, "Where's the cum shot? We're making whatever the pizza girls they deliver. We're making pizza girls, not Last Tango, because Last Tango was light porn, right?"
No, I get it.
So
I
the guy's
get it. I
going,
just
"Where's the
can't
cum
believe
shot?
it's
We're
you. I
making
can't believe
pizza
it's you.
girls,
You were a
not
kid."
Last Tango." Okay, cut to, I was in more of it. That ended up being in it. There were other pieces, but nonetheless, 3 days. Okay, so years later, and I remember getting home. My wife said, "What was it like?" I said, "Honey, it was wild." Okay, so I get done.
You don't want to know.
Years later, we're in our home in Agora. We're still there. My son is probably 15 or 16. He's got a couple of buddies over there playing video games. And from my hand to... my son opens the door, and my wife were kind of asleep. He said, "Dad." I said, "Everything okay, buddy?" He goes, "Yeah. Were you in a movie called Body Double?" And my wife said,
Showtime late at night or something?
I told you. And so I said, that was me. And so my son...
Did he recognize you seeing it?
Yeah, because he said, were you in a movie called Body Double? And I started laughing. My wife started laughing. And talk about the sins of the father, right?
That's hilarious.
My son.
How old was your son?
Almost 16, I think.
That's probably about the age I discovered that movie.
And he
Yeah.
said they were
That's the
watching...
time you gotta watch.
He said, they were flipping through. They wanted to watch a mystery or whatever.
Yeah.
And they watched that, and all of a sudden, one of my son's buddies said, "I think that's your dad."
Yeah.
And it was. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
How about that? Isn't that crazy?
It's great. The movie is so weird, but there's crazy credibility added to
Yeah.
it all over the place by the talent that's in it, and then like that using that location from the actual
That
Lautner house.
isn't that something?
If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, it's the famous spaceship house
Yeah.
that's in every movie. You know, kind of a
Incredible
mid-century
home.
modern.
Is that the one
That's
in
where
Charlie's
the-
Angels?
Movie
They
happened?
recreated it in
Yeah.
Charlie's
Yeah.
Angels.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's the same thing.
And there was all sorts of
It was in Tomorrowland. They did an animated version of it in Tomorrowland.
yeah, and of course, we know due to what's the one that Michael Caine, that Brian De Palma directed with Nancy Allen, his then wife, as a matter of fact. Nancy was. I forgot. Anyway, he did a lot of murder mystery that kind of got a little gruesome.
Yeah.
And even in Body Double.
The killing in
with
Body
the-
Double with the auger.
Yeah,
Dear
and
Lord.
it's standing over a woman. The sexual, metaphor.
Yeah,
And it did
He
make you kind of go,
There was a lot of
wow.
in and out.
It was pretty intense. I wasn't there for that, but it was a...
And the other thing is it's a voyeur movie too, because it's
Yeah.
all like through a telescope
Right.
or whatever. So there's kind of like a creep element to it.
Yeah.
This guy's house sitting. It's
it
really
was crazy.
I feel like
Dress
I
to
would
Kill?
love this. It
Uh-oh.
sounds
Here we go.
retarded.
Was
What's
it
up,
Dress
Canada?
to Kill?
Dress to Kill.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
That's right. Good job.
Thanks, pal. Appreciate that. But yeah, it was quite an experience just to be there.
Wait, hang on. Brian De Palma was married to Nancy Allen,
Yeah.
or Oh, I don't know if I knew that.
A long time ago. I don't think they've been married for a long time.
She
but,
used to do tons of those horror
Oh,
movie
yeah.
type.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Wow.
It was, everybody could not have been nicer. Mr. De Palma was absolutely delightful, treated me
Professional.
like a total pro, didn't blow me off. They were really,
Look at that
really
journey.
nice.
Body double to Ninja Turtles.
How about that?
Unbelievable.
Or Land Before Time. I do all the Land
Nobody
Before
in
Time.
Hollywood
movies.
Land
can say
Before
that.
Time.
Yeah,
Oh,
I play.
that was
That's the best
beautiful.
gig in show business. I was a character called Spike, who is a stegosaurus.
Yeah.
And he didn't speak. So,
Oh.
hey, Spike, you want a tree star? Are you hungry? Are you sad?
How'd you
Watch
learn
out
the
for that
lines?
log. And then I get a check. What? And again, what? And give up show business.
Well
Yeah.
done. Well, yeah, and then the same thing. The Fraggle Rock is the same thing.
Right.
There were
I did
tons
the
of
animated
rock.
version of Fraggle Rock, not the Muppet version.
Right.
There was
Well,
a,
but it was this. It was
same
Phil Henson
thing.
and
Yeah,
company,
I played a
right?
character called Boober, and I played a living trash heap called Marjorie the Trash
I remember
Heap.
the trash heap. I
And
remember
who had-
both trash heaps.
Yes, it had the voice from like Maria Ospenskaya. It was a very strange Slavic voice who was trash heap.
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, yeah.
We had Tom Dreesen
Whoa.
here last week,
Oh,
and he
God.
was
We had the same publicist for years, Tom
really.
Dreesen. Yep.
And he was in Spaceballs as well as one of the guards with the shaving cream. He was
Right.
telling the whole story.
Yeah.
Tell us your
Okay.
Spaceballs.
There's also a great, thank you. There's a great story that goes with this too. I was doing, you know what looping is?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else does.
Okay, looping is when actors come in and they do voices and clinking of dishes and stuff, because when things are shot with other people in the background, most of the time they're done with no sound. The only people being mic'd and recorded are the principal actors. So this was a great group. Phil Hartman, yours truly, Nancy Cartwright, Bart Simpson,
Sure.
a wonderful actor named Corey Burton, and Tress MacNeille, who is, oh God, she's the crazy cat lady on Simpsons. She plays Mom on Futurama. She's Dot Warner on Animaniacs, Babs Bunny, crazy. All right. So it was a really great group. And of course, this was 35 years ago. And Mr. Brooks was running the looping session with the dialogue editor. And so there was a scene in which Bill Pullman had to make. Mr. Brooks comes in and he says, all right, here's the deal. We got Bill Pullman's going to crash, and you know these little guys that walk around, they're midgets. We can't say that, but that's what Mr. Brooks said. They're midgets in little hoods. They're called the dinks. Everywhere they go, they
yeah,
dink,
right.
dink, 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 right? All right. So pretty soon, Bill Pullman's going to crash on a sand planet, but we got to have a dink to bring him water. I got to have a name for that dink because we refer to him. And so I looked at Phil, who's a good friend, and I said, Gunga Dink. And Phil said, oh, Robbie, you're going to say that to Mel Brooks? Dude, he's going to love you for that.
Yeah.
You're 25
You're
years
in
old.
for life.
And I said, I don't know, man. Because, Mr. Brooks, yeah, what do you got? He says, no, it's not me. My friend Rob has something. What do you got, son? I said, well, he said, water carrier, water. How about Gunga Dink? And everybody laughed except Mr. Brooks. And so he
It's a
said,
take on Gunga Din if
Gunga
anybody
Din,
doesn't
right?
realize.
Yeah, the water boy, Gunga
Right.
Din. And Sam Jaffe was in that movie, I think, million years ago. Anyway, so Mel says, what's your name, son? I said, Rob Paulson. All right, Rob, in my business, wit is shit, funny is money. Who's got something else?
Hilarious.
And I just went, and Phil later at lunch, he said, God, I'm so sorry, buddy. I said, I feel like a dope. He said, no, it's because you had something good. And you know. Anyway, cut. And so I got back at him for years later. And when I'd refer to him, I'd call him Mr. Bancroft. I thought, because he made Anne Bancroft forever. So anyway, years later,
Mrs. Brooks.
Mrs. Brooks,
Yeah.
a good friend of mine, Chris Hardwick, has a great podcast.
She used to represent him.
You did?
Yeah,
I
for years.
love Chris. One of my best friends. Did he marry
She
well?
used to be a Hollywood PR person. She
Is
used to
that
do
right?
personal PR, yeah.
Oh my God! Well, I'll tell him you said hi.
Please.
I
Please do.
love Chris. He had a wonderful podcast, and I was on.
Was it The Nerdist?
The Nerdist,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And so I was on it with my friend Maurice LaMarche, who's the brain. Chris is we did a couple of animated shows together. Of course, you know how incredibly gifted he is,
So talented.
and a lovely guy, really great guy. So he said, "Hey, Robbie, I'd love to have him on the pod." Great. He had Mel Brooks on, and he knew about this story.
Oh.
And he said, Mel, I got to ask you. I have a good friend, Rob Paulson, who did a bunch of looping on Spaceballs, and he told me the following story. ... Wit is shit, funny as money. So Mel laughed. He said, "It sounds exactly like something I would have said. It's a great idea, Rob. I'm sorry."
Hilarious.
How about that?
Wow.
Vindication.
30,
years
25
later.
years later. It's a great idea. It's probably something I would have said. I'm sorry about that, Rob. How about that?
Validation.
So it was Chris Hardwick who got validation from Mel Brooks.
That's a
and it gave
tombstone
me,
item. Sorry about that,
That's
Rob.
right. Sorry about that,
Yeah.
Rob. But it gave me a great story. So
It's
thank you for asking.
outstanding.
Yeah.
Ugh. But what were you in Spaceballs?
Well, I did a bunch of. I think what people know now. There's a scene where
because I remember were you doing the ding, 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 ding?
I was doing that.
Okay.
I was also. There was a scene in which they're combing the desert with literally a giant
a
comb.
comb.
Yeah.
Right. And
That's their
I got
orders. They're
people out
ordered to
there-
go comb the
I
desert.
go comb
so
the
then you-
desert. Nothing so far, sir. I have people who come up to me and say, "Would you just say nothing so far, sir?" And I say it, and they flip out.
Could be worse. Where's the cum shot?
Where's the cum shot? I get that too. People will say, "Would you have Pinky say where's the cum shot?"
Oh, you can't do that.
Can't
you
do
can't do that. Wow.
Yeah. So I've got good stories.
I have nothing to say other than I'm so grateful that you spent time with us today. And
Ditto, my friends.
I'm hoping that you'll come back again. Cause
try and stop me.
Okay.
I'm so grateful to be here.
I mean,
Show
this
you-
is
we
fun.
have
Yeah,
books for you
please.
guys.
Yeah.
Let's see the
This
new
is so
collaboration.
But also, because
And then is Mike ducked off there. Okay.
because I'm still a fan, regardless, is I have some Hot Wheels that you have to sign for me.
In a heartbeat, you got it.
That's hilarious.
By the way, and I'm dead serious, if you guys ever run into any charitable events or anybody who's a friend and says, "Oh my God, I'm a total nut for anything," please let me know. I sign pictures for people all the time. I just do it for my friends.
Well, we do fundraisers and charity shows as well. So
Please.
we just did one at the
Anything
Marconi Auto Museum last week.
anything I can
and
do.
We'll do the next one. Maybe you'll come out and be a
It would
special
be
guest. Do a
my
little panel.
great pleasure. I would love to.
We brought the desk and chairs out and everything. We did
No
like an
problem.
old Tonight Show. Sort
My
of deal.
great pleasure. It'd be an absolute total.
Ninja Turtle vans.
Oh, my God, how
come
about that?
on.
I'll have you do those.
Cool.
But this is the book.
Yeah, this is
I have
my
a couple of
coloring book.
copies for you.
Thanks
Very
to
cool. There's your
Fireball
car
Tim.
there.
How about
I
that?
love it.
Yep.
Love it.
That's my current car on the front.
There's a couple for you
Let's
guys.
see.
And these
I'll
are a
hold
couple
this
of my
one up.
characters. This is Yakko Warner from Animaniacs. This is Donatello from the second iteration of Turtles I did. I was Raphael when you were a little guy, but then I did Donatello on a 2012 version of the show.
Oh.
That's Pinky from Pinky and the Brain. Garf. This is a character called PJ from Goof Troop and the Goofy movie. And this is a character from Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius who's named Carl Weezer. And I get paid American dollars for that. So thank you very much, Fireball.
Oh, this is awesome. And
Great
so
fun.
you, as usual, you do the illustrations.
Yep,
Oh, excuse
you
me.
bet.
Beautiful
Let me just look at my
illustrations.
faces.
It was a
And then-
blast to be able to work together because I was visualizing a moment in
This,
history.
I love the
of
Quattro
him.
here. That's one.
Isn't
Of
that cool?
my
I had
favorites.
Audi
That's one of
Coupe.
my favorites,
I had an
yeah.
82 Audi Coupe. Great car. An orange one. It wasn't a Quattro, but it looked like it.
It was 82.
Yeah.
So that was the one. It still looked like the Scirocco, basically.
Yeah,
right?
it was a
like
long
the Audi
Scirocco.
Scirocco.
Right.
Yeah, that
yeah,
was
it was
a hot
cool.
car.
And you also talk about, here's what Fireball was so great in this book because he's got me going to Vasek Polak with a 917 Longtail in the background and 911 in front. And one of my characters looking around, Steelbeak, character I did in the show called Darkwing Duck.
Oh,
And,
yeah, I remember Darkwing
Yeah,
Duck,
it was
of course.
Darkwing. And then there was a place across the street from Vasek called Mardikian Engineering, and it was a company who specialized in gray market cars, and they would legalize them for this country. And I walked in, the first car
Did
I
they not
saw.
call it federalized anymore? They used to call it
They federalizing. That's what they used to call it. But I walked in, and the first car I saw was a yellow Daytona Spider. I'd never seen one in my life, and it had just been legalized.
72, 73.
Yeah, 73.
Yeah. Oh, so it
Jesus.
had the plexi lights and everything. That
Oh
is
my
the hottest
God!
looking thing.
It was stunning.
Yeah, in
and
that
it was
Ferrari yellow.
difficult to not faint. And they were so
Had the
kind.
wire wheels probably?
Oh yeah,
God
knockoffs. And I said, "Would you start this?" The guy said, "Sure, why not?" So they opened the doors and windows, and
Had the clamshell front.
that
Oh.
V12, there was nothing like the sound of that 12. Wow, just astonishing. So, all those memories were brought to bear thanks to my dear friend Fireball.
It's fun. That you got to look for the characters in each sketch.
Yeah, he
so
puts a
each
lot of
one
my
them-
characters in. Look, I had a Mini Cooper S, which I traded on my Aston, and 6 months after I bought the Aston, I called the sales manager who sold me the car just to say, man, I'm really enjoying this car. Thanks a lot. It works great. He said, you're not going to believe this. You traded in that Mini with 92,000 miles on it. I haven't sold it. I drive it every day. I had to put a clutch in it.
Yeah.
What a fucking
Just drives
blast.
it as a demo?
Incredible car.
He just loves it. He said, I don't want to sell it.
Outstanding.
I got it. I mean, it costs nothing to run. It's
a great
it's a
get
great
around
car.
and
I
it's-
love.
and
He
it's
could
a
drive
really fun
anything,
car to
and he's
drive,
having
yeah.
a ball driving this Mini Cooper S with 120,000 miles on
It's
it.
hilarious.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, that he's put 30,000 miles on it. It's great.
After I sold it, after I traded it in, but then Fireball was kind enough to put my dream car at the end.
There you go.
My 720S. But hey,
It's
man,
funny, the federalization thing. The only reason I know that program is because when I was a kid in Connecticut, I was having some work done to my BMW E30 at the time, and they were federalizing a McLaren F1, and that was the only time I've ever gotten to go for a ride in a McLaren F1.
you got to. Wow.
I didn't get to drive it. I got to ride in
That's
one
that's
of the passenger
fantastic,
seats.
though. I've seen them. I remember that. Oh God, who's the guy who played Mr. Bean?
Oh, Rowan Atkinson.
Rowan.
He
Rode
wrecked his a
off.
bunch of times, didn't he?
Wrote it off.
I think he wrecked it a handful
I
of
think
times.
more
before
than
he
once
wrote it
because he
off.
had it fixed.
Yeah, a couple
and then
times.
he literally, I think totaled it.
Yeah.
I can't
think
even
so, too.
imagine.
Leno drives his around. You see.
Yeah, I've
you see
seen
him
that. I've seen
driving.
Leno in the Stanley Steamer. I've seen him in the F1. I've seen him when he was doing. Oh God! Oh, the Pagani. I saw him when he was doing an episode when he was driving around with. It wasn't Horacio, but it was somebody that was a Pagani rep for the Beverly Hills Pagani store. But no, man, I go down to the when I'm in town, I stop over at the McLaren store over there on Olympic, and the folks there have always been really nice because, oh my God, they have Koenigsegg's there.
Oh, it's everything. It's O'Gara coach. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and they have an
they're great.
O'Gara out by me in Thousand Oaks at the Thousand Oaks Auto Mall. And now
We've
they've
done
got-
some stuff with them out there.
Say again?
We've done some
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
with them
they've
out
got
there.
a
They have
great-
events out there.
They have of course they have the roller dealership and the Bentley dealership, but they've got the new Maserati MC20, I think it is.
I
They
like
got
that car a
4
lot.
of them. Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's
beautiful
good looking.
car.
Oh, I just have
Really good
Gorgeous.
looking.
the
That's
San
a
Marino show. Yeah,
serious sports car.
Yeah. I would like to invite you guys. The Art Center College of Design is having their car classic.
Oh,
that's
wow.
coming up.
When?
Cool.
They're locking in the date. It was the 15th, but they're have to shift around because Rose Bowl's doing a bunch of things. But we're doing a 90th anniversary coloring book for car design masters, and it'll include Henrik Fisker,
Oh, my
Frank Stephenson, Chip Foose, Chris
Yeah.
Bangle, sketches from all these guys. will
I love
be in
it.
that book, which is
Good
gonna
for
be neat.
you.
But if you've never been to that show,
What's the date? Did you say?
I don't have the date yet.
Oh,
I'll
okay,
get it
okay.
for you, and I'll make sure that you guys have it in time.
But it's coming up in a month or so.
Yes, probably end of October, beginning of November. But I'll
Beautiful.
let you know as soon as it comes up.
Cool.
So we'll look forward to that. Also, the Hello Deli is your only source for officially licensed Late Show with David Letterman merchandise.
There
Check
you
out
go.
Hello Deli, hello-deli.com. Go say hello to Rupert.
Deli.
You remember Rupert G from the Hello
I do.
Deli?
Rupert G from Hello Deli.
He's
In
still
fact, you know
there.
what else I remember? When I was a kid, my Bibles, I had 2 of them, were whenever I was sick, home from school, my mom, God bless her, would bring me Famous Monsters of Filmland
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and Mad.
Oh, sure.
And I loved Mad because they had all these parody songs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one I never forgot was to the tune of Hello Dolly. And it goes like, Hello Deli, this is Joe Deli. Would you please send up a nice corned beef on rye, a box of Ritz Deli, and some Schlitz Deli, some tomatoes and potatoes, you French fry, turkey legs Deli, hard-boiled eggs Deli.
we don't want to get thrown off of YouTube here by doing the whole thing.
Don't be late, Deli, because I can't wait, Deli. Deli without breakfast, I will die.
I can't
will
believe
never
you
forget that.
remember that.
Well-
from being in school.
But it's,
Home from school.
But then I get to do a lot of those type of songs. Animaniacs has a lot of brilliant songs, and it's a Steven Spielberg show, so we get a 40-piece orchestra like all the old Looney Tunes. That's the way to do
great.
it, man. Fantastic.
They say all which separates men and boys is the coverage for their toys. What types of toys, Mrs. Ryan?
Collector stuff.
That's right.
Atta girl.
Licensed in most states, St. Clair Insurance shops top provider, so you get the best coverage for your toys. Simply check them out by going to coverageforyourtoys.com. Coverageforyourtoys.com.
Coverageforyourtoys.com.
Fantastic.
Tell
So
them
they
Nicole
cover-
says hello because
the collector
oftentimes
toys
she
are.
can't.
That's what they're an insurance that specializes in that.
They'll literally insure anything you have from your home to your business,
Fantastic.
but they specialize in collector cars.
Why not?
and-
Of course, that's great.
Yeah, because there's a market for it.
Yeah.
These days.
Yeah.
Series 1 Films is more than just films. They can set you up with effective marketing solutions like press releases on major news sites. They can scale your rank on Google and produce cinematic content for your automotive brand or business. Series1films.com. Series1films.com.
Series1films.com.
One is a number
Beautifully said.
one. Okay, we did all the business. We did all the stuff. Thank you both so much
Oh,
for
are you
being here.
kidding me?
How do we follow you both? Fireball Tim on the Instagram.
I am at Yakko Pinky, two of my characters, and it's YAKKOPINKY on Twitter. At Yakko Pinky. Rob_Paulsen, Paulsen on Instagram.
You got a lot of followers on Instagram.
Yeah, and I do pretty well there, but I'll tell you what really has gotten crazy is TikTok. I'm
You're on TikTok.
I'm Rob Paulson, all one word, ROBPAULSEN 311, because it's my birthday and somebody else had taken my name.
Son of a
Rob
bitch.
Paulson 311 on TikTok, and I'm almost 400,000 there.
Holy
which is crazy.
crap!
Well, I'll tell you what, this is what's so interesting. My friend the brain, Maurice LaMarche, and I did a little video the other day of us singing, wherever we go, whatever we do, we're gonna go through it together. We did it. We posted it Sunday afternoon. It's got 325,000 views on it.
I don't understand how the algorithms work.
You
You definitely have something they want, though, so keep doing
just
what you're doing.
Crazy. So anyway, and then on Facebook it's just Rob Paulson, voice actor. So
We have a TikTok also, Fireball Tim Best of Show.
Best of show.
Best of Show.
Does that have to do with the museum or your car
no,
shows?
it has to do with just cars, car shows, and things like that. But weird things that happen in Malibu. Most of them are not big numbers, not as big as Rob's. But one video was just buses going by, and it got 120,000 views.
I don't understand
like
that at all.
I don't either.
That one little video, the cops chasing us, that I put the Dukes of Hazzard song to, over 100,000
Isn't that
views
something?
in like 2 days. I don't understand that. And then things I put effort into and put use
Bupkis.
my art and put craft into.
Yeah,
I know.
forget it.
3,000,
Can't figure it out.
4,000. Get this coloring book and the other Fireball Tim collaborative coloring books on Amazon, correct?
Amazon
yeah,
and Etsy.
and Etsy.
And Etsy. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And it's at Fireball Tim. Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's it. We did the thing. At New Life of Old Nicole, Porsche Life 111, or whatever we are these
Thank you,
days.
guys.
Thank you so much.
you.
Thank you in Canada.
You're coming
as well.
back.
Yeah.
You're coming back.
Oh, it'd be a pleasure.
You're both coming back. This was amazing. I want to
Awesome.
do many more of these. I love you. We both love you.
Thank you.
We all love
and
you.
we
at
love
home.
you.
Please love one another, and we will see you out there. Back on, let's see, we're back on Wednesday. No, we're not. We're never here on Wednesday. Thursday, we're back, and we're catching up with you. There is finally no guest scheduled, so it's going to be a Talk to Instagram all hour, and then back at GVBC on Friday. Okay, we love everybody.
What a
See you
pleasure.
later.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Oh my God. You guys are so lovely. Thank you.